and I'm going to take my time to get this done. All right. So our session might last for about an hour and a half, and then we'd have additional 30 minutes thereabout for questions and answers. So if you have any distraction, I want you to take it away right now. So would have, and what I can promise you before the end of the session is you'll get immense value for the time that you get to spend with us today. All right. So how do you ensure that you get shortlisted for an interview? I'm going to narrow my focus a little bit to the NHS for those of you in the UK. For those of you outside the UK, you start to see the reasons why you are not getting interviews and what you need to start doing differently. Okay, so a little bit about who we are at Analytics. For those of you joining us for the very first time, we are the leading educational technology company focused on helping people land high-paying jobs across multiple areas within the tech ecosystem. The tech ecosystem in itself is very broad, but we narrow the focus to specific areas, and I'll be sharing those areas with you today. We operate out of Alberta in Canada and also London in the UK through our sister company, Amdari. And I'm going to touch on Amdari and why Amdari is very important to your journey in securing a job, securing an offer, securing an interview, why you need Amdari to get that done. Over the last 5 years, we've helped people like you, professionals, recent graduates, people who want to make a transition from their current career path into landing a job within the tech ecosystem. Over 4,000 people across the UK, across Canada, across the US, across Europe. We've helped nurses become healthcare data analysts, healthcare reporting analysts. We've helped accountants become financial analysts, project managers. We've helped lawyers become business analysts, GRC analysts, and so on and so forth. And I'll be showing you how that is possible and how they were able to move from non-technical roles into roles within the technology ecosystem. We have over 182 full-time employees cutting across the UK, Canada, Africa, and across the world essentially. And we have access to over 300 industry experts. Now, what does this mean? These are the professionals that ensures that you get every single thing that you need to make that breakthrough within the tech ecosystem. So you're working with the best of the best. You get to work with professionals who are in the industry, who are in the region where you reside, and they guide you, hold your hands to ensuring that you get that offer at the end of the day. Now, I talked about focusing on different areas within the tech ecosystem, but everybody uses the word tech very loosely. We focus on areas around data analytics, health tech, that's the healthcare data analysts, the healthcare business analysts, the healthcare project manager roles. We focus on business analysis, data science, and machine learning, AI data engineering, cybersecurity, GRC, and so on and so forth. And for me today, I'll be leading the session and flying the plane that we have today. All right. And why am I here to talk to you and giving a little bit about myself in terms of what I've done over the last couple of years? Like so many of you, I had no technology background. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, but I transitioned into data analytics about 12 years ago. So fast forward 12 years into the future, I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across data analytics, management consulting, data science, and so on and so forth. I'm the founder of Tenalytics and the co-founder of Amdari. And using these two platforms, we've been able to help over 4,000 plus people to make that jump from the classroom into landing their very first jobs within the tech ecosystem. I currently work as a data analytics and engineering contractor in Alberta, Canada. I've lived in the UK. I've worked in the UK as a data science consultant. I've worked for companies in the US, working remotely back when I was in Nigeria. And I've worked with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst within the business performance unit. I also had a title at a point called Management Information Systems Analyst, MIS. And then I worked with FITC owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. My experience spans across multiple sectors, from sports to financial services, where I started my career, transitioned into energy, educational technology, automobile when I was in the UK. All right. I'm going to share a bit of my experience and some of the mistakes that I made and why you shouldn't make those mistakes as well. Okay. So, one thing I can assure you is you're going to get value for your time and learn some new amazing skills and tools that you can start leveraging immediately after today's session. All right. So, four things I'll show you how to do is how to get shortlisted and get invited for interviews, especially for those who want to land NHS interviews. All right. I'll show you how to get shortlisted and how to land those interviews. Then I'll show you how to learn the skills required to land a visa sponsor job. The equivalent in that for that in Canada is you getting a sponsorship job, which leads to permanent residency at the end of the day. So how do you get a job that can sponsor you to apply for your permanent residency if you're in Canada? And of course, if you're in the UK, you want to get a visa sponsor job where you have the opportunity to work for that organization, get your ILR after 5 years, and eventually you can get British citizenship if that's your goal. All right. And of course, I'll show you how to gain the experience that employers want to see. One of the mistakes that people make is we assume we know what the employers want without necessarily knowing what they want. So we do everything we think we need to do. We've watched a lot of YouTube videos, we've seen a lot of things on Instagram and a lot of information out there. But the big question is, what do employers actually want from me? If you can't answer that question, then it means you can never give that employer what they want. And if you can't give the employer what they want, you definitely cannot get an invite for an interview. All right. So I'll show you how to gain the work experience because employers in 2026 want you not for what you can do, but they want you for what you have done in the past, your work experience. What have you done? Can you show me why you are the best candidate for the job? Do you have experience in this area? If you can't showcase that you have experience, then you can't get that interview and you can't get that job. And finally, I'll show you how to get started today. All right, which is one of the most important things we're going to look at. So how do you get started today at the end of today's session? Okay, now let's dive straight into the NHS. For those in the UK, now if you want a stable job that comes with sponsorship, a lot of people would say target the NHS, and there's a reason why. So why target the NHS if you want to land a visa sponsored job? It's very easy to answer. Number one, the NHS has over 230 plus trusts in the UK. So many trusts, so many health centers, and these health centers and trusts are always recruiting for talent. And when you talk about talent, the NHS also hires the largest number of people in the UK public sector. So when it comes to hiring, when it comes to talent, the NHS hires the highest number, the largest number of people. So they're always recruiting for talent. And currently the NHS has over 1,500,000 employees across the UK. So this is enough reason why anybody would want to get into the NHS. They're always hiring for talents. They have so many trusts and so many trusts, different NHS trusts and health centers across the UK. And they currently have over 1,500,000 people. But that's not all. So we know that the NHS would always hire. Why should we now focus on them? Is it just because they're always hiring and so on and so forth? But it's important for us to know what is happening currently within our space so we know how to plan for the future. To plan for the future, you need to know what happened yesterday, what is happening today, and you can forecast what is likely going to happen in the future. So why is it important for you to target the NHS, especially for those of you who want visa sponsorship? And I'll give you the answer to that. Number one is there is a massive expansion within the NHS. I said the NHS currently has over 250 plus trusts. But guess what? The NHS received over 20 billion pounds over the last 2 years, and they are building additional 200 health centers across the UK. They would need medical doctors, they would need physicians, they would need GPs, they would need nurses, nurse assistants, pharmacists, but they would also need professionals within the non-clinical roles. They would need information analysts. They would need pharmacy data analysts. They would need pathology data analysts, business architects, healthcare data analysts. So when new centers are opened, what does that mean? Massive hiring will take place. And with the 20 billion pounds received by the NHS over the last 2 years, it simply means with the expansion comes more employees and more hiring and more opportunities for people who have the skills to apply to those jobs. And of course, currently at the moment, the NHS also has over 6.2 million people on the waiting lists, waiting for care, waiting for different pathways to care within the NHS. So this means that for the NHS not being able to attend to 6.2 million people on their waiting lists, they need people to fill those, to come in and ensure that they are able to ease and move a large chunk of people off that waiting list. Okay. And for them to do that, they need a lot of talents to come in across board, not just the clinical roles, but also non-clinical roles. So what I've done is I've kept a couple of links on my slide. So you'd see a short link right here. If you click on this, it takes you to an article, and I'll show you what that article looks like. All right. And it's an article that shows pretty recent, this month, 9th of July, a statistical press notice from the NHS clearly indicating and showing you the number of people on the wait list. Okay. And you'd see clearly that the number of unique patients is estimated to be around 6.2 million people. And these are patients waiting to start treatment. Patients waiting to start treatment, over 6.2 million people. And the reason why it took so long for these patients to start getting treatments is because of shortage of talent. All right. So that's one reason you want to focus on the NHS. Massive expansion, massive hiring. They need talents to come in. All right. So if you want access to my slide at the end of today's session, you want to make sure that you fill the attendance form. So my colleagues would share the attendance in the chat. Make sure you fill so you get the recording, you get my slides and all the materials I'll be sharing today. Now, that's one reason why it's important for you to target the NHS, especially for visa sponsorship. Another reason is preparing for the future. Like I said, if you know what happened yesterday, what is happening today, you can predict what would happen in the future. The NHS has a window where they have massive recruitment spree. And the next coming window is January to February. Now, this does not mean that between now and the end of the year, the NHS would not recruit talents. They would, but they would recruit sparingly, not as much as January and February. And the reason why January and February is a massive peak hiring period for the NHS is because they operate a financial cycle between April to March. So by March, they need to reset their budgets and reset their targets, reset so many things. So if there are any projects that haven't started, that was in the previous budget, they have to start. All right. If they have any recruitments that have been approved in the previous budget, but they haven't hired for those talents, they have to hire. If they have to replace talents, they have to do that before the next cycle commences and everything resets in March. So January to February is a peak hiring period. And apart from the financial cycle, by November, December, when we get into winter and so on, hiring slows down until the new year before hiring peaks. So what does that mean for somebody looking for a job or for somebody who wants to target an organization? It doesn't mean you stop targeting them today. You keep on applying. However, you prepare properly If you don't have the skills to compete for the best jobs in the NHS today, you can start today. Before the end of the year, you are ready to apply in January. You are ready to get that job in February. All right. So that's another opportunity waiting for anyone. And finally, the NHS is a sponsorship machine. For anybody looking for sponsorship today, if you're not targeting the NHS, then I don't know what you're doing. All right. The NHS, 188 out of 250 trusts, has issued over 82,000 COSs. And a COS is simply a certificate of sponsorship. This is what you take to the Home Office and apply for your skilled worker visa. Only 188 NHS trusts across the UK have issued over 82,000 plus COSs. So the NHS is a sponsorship machine, but not everybody can get access to these jobs. Only the people with the right skills, and most especially those who know what the NHS hiring process looks like. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So massive expansion means massive hiring. All right. Knowing that January to February is August is the next peak period apart from January to February. But imagine you don't have the skill today. There is no way you can get the skill in the next couple of weeks and meet the next peak hiring period in August. Okay, so after August, you have January and February, and it's the best time for you to start preparing today. And finally, the NHS is a sponsorship machine. So the big question is, what does the NHS want from you? If you want to get that job today, what do they want? Because remember, I said something. Most people don't get the interviews because they assume what the employer wants. They assume and do the things they feel would get them the job. They are not actually doing what that organization wants from them. Now, if you give the NHS what they want, you'll qualify for that interview. So the big question is, what does the NHS want from you? What do they want? How do you qualify for that interview? And how do you even get sponsorship? Okay. So you always have to think about what they want from me, not what I think or what you think. What do they want from me? Okay. And I'm going to guide you through that. And number one is the career eligibility. If you have a notepad and you have a pen, I want you to write things down because I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I don't want you to miss out on any one of them because they're all extremely important, but you need to write things down. Okay. So number one is career eligibility. What does this mean? It means that you must get into a career path that the NHS wants, a career path that is in high demand within the NHS, and a career path that is eligible for sponsorship within the NHS. So I can decide I want to get a job with the NHS today, but I'm not in the right career path. I'd keep on applying and I'll keep on searching for jobs, and I won't see the type of jobs that would give me the opportunity that I want. Okay, so career eligibility is one of them and is extremely important. And I'm going to show you the best career path for you within the NHS. Okay. Now, for somebody who is not in the UK, maybe you're in Canada, maybe you're in the US, you're in Africa, in Nigeria, across Europe, you're in Poland, Germany, wherever you are today, in Ireland, for example, you need to know the career path that are high in demand in your region. And then you ask yourself, do I have the skills? Yes or no? If I don't have the skills, then I need to start building the skills. If I can build the skills, gain work experience, showcase that I've done this job before, then I can start getting those opportunities. And those are the things I'll show you how to do step by step. But number one is you must be in the right career path. Okay. And when people hear about the NHS, because it is a healthcare organization, they assume that only clinical roles are in high demand. So most people know about the clinical roles. They know about the nursing roles, medical doctors, the physio, the radiographers, the paramedics, the pharmacists, the nurse assistants, the biomedical scientists, and so on and so forth. Those are the clinical pathways, but you have non-clinical pathways. You have the data analyst working in the NHS, the information analyst. So the NHS would change some of the titles. So a data analyst might not necessarily be called a data analyst. You'd see information analyst. You'd see roles like pathology data analyst, healthcare data analyst, pharmacy data analyst, and so on and so forth. You have the healthcare business analyst, you have the project managers, the digital transformation officers, and so on. So many other roles that are non-clinical, but are in high demand and available within the NHS. Okay. And those are the roles I want to focus on today. Even if you're a nurse today, you are a support worker, a care worker, domiciliary care worker, personal support worker. It doesn't matter what you do at the moment. There is a pathway for you into the NHS. There is a pathway for you into a high demand, non-coding career path. So what are the best career paths for you to focus on? Given all the things I've said so far, I'm going to share 6 career paths with you, the best career path for you. And then I'll show you how you can start identifying the ones you fall under. Is this the best for me or not? And so on and so forth. And at the end of the session today, I'll stay back. I'll take out time to listen to you and also recommend to you, based on your experience, based on what you've done before, and the best career path forward for you. Because I was in your position, a couple of years ago. All right. I studied industrial chemistry from the university. My first job outside the university was as a management consultant. So I didn't do anything data. I didn't do anything technology related. I didn't study computer science, and I needed a direction. And what did I do? It was very difficult for me. I had no mentor. I had no guidance, but I decided to take a chance on data analytics. And like they say, the rest is history. So what are the best career paths for you? All right. Number 1 is the business analyst career path. A fantastic career path within the NHS, not just in the NHS in the UK, but across multiple regions in the US, in Canada, and so on and so forth. The business analyst career path is a high demand career path, and the salaries are also tremendous. An average of about £52,000 to £71,000 per annum, depending on the sector, the organization, and so on and so forth. You have the data analyst career path as well. One of the most fantastic career path that has ever existed over the last 2 decades. We've generated and we keep on generating data every single day. The NHS, everybody thinks when you get into a hospital or when you get into a healthcare organization, you are getting into a hospital. A hospital is simply a data center with beds, because medical organizations, hospitals generate data every single day. When a patient walks into the hospital, your medical history is data. The time you got into the hospital is data. How fast you were attended to based on your appointment is data. The type of medication you take is data. What medication works best for you is data. How long did you stay in the hospital is data. What departments have the longest length of stay is data. So these are data-driven organizations, and they need somebody who can analyze that data and tell them the decision they need to take from a data-driven perspective. That's why the data analyst is so much in high demand across multiple organizations. Then you have the agile project manager. And of course, as a data analyst, the salary is about £47,000 to about £61,000 per annum. For somebody in Canada, for example, you're looking at anything from 85,000 Canadian dollars to about 100,000 Canadian dollars, and so on and so forth. And that's on the average. Then you have the agile project manager. The agile project manager can also be referred to as the IT project. Let me just write it here. Okay. The IT project manager. Okay. The IT project manager. So these are not your conventional project managers. These are your project managers that focus on managing technology products. Okay. So you see the electronic healthcare system that the hospital uses, the electronic healthcare records that stores patients' data. Those systems were built by a technology team, and somebody managed that project to ensure that the systems were built to meet the demand, meet the need and the requirement of that healthcare organization. It's a technology product. And that's where the IT project manager comes in. They manage technology related projects from start to completion. They are in high demand in the NHS, and they're called different names, not just project managers. You'd see them as digital transformation officers and so on and so forth. And we're going to take a snippet into the type of roles you'd find when you search for this particular career path. Okay. Then you have the healthcare business analyst. So these are business analysts, but what do? They work within the healthcare space, the healthcare organization. All right. And of course, you have the healthcare data analyst. Okay, I can't see anybody again. Okay, we have the healthcare data analyst. The healthcare data analysts are data analysts. But what do? They work within the healthcare space. They work in medical organizations. If you're in Canada, you work with the Alberta Health Services, for example, in Health Canada. If you're in the UK, the NHS is where you want to be. All right. And you have the healthcare project manager. Tremendous salary, tremendous career path, and all these roles are eligible for sponsorship. Okay. You can see the codes I've kept there. I wrote the different codes. And what does this mean? It means that if you go to the gov.uk website, the link is also there on my slide. Remember, if you want access to all of these at the end of today's session, make sure you fill the attendance. So if I click on this, it takes me to the gov.uk website where I can see the skilled worker visa eligible occupations. Okay. And if I want to look for the business analyst, for example, if I go to 2133, I'm just going to scroll very quickly and show you this, and then we move on. So if you go to 2133, for example, you'd see the IT business analyst, and you see the breakdown of these roles. IT business analysts, okay, data architects, IT solutions architects, and so on and so forth. And they're categorized as what? Higher skilled. And this simply means these are career paths that are eligible for sponsorship with no restriction. All right. So I've kept all the codes for you right here. And all you need to do is make sure you fill the attendance. At the end of the day, you get my slides and you get access to this. So these are the career path you want to focus on. And they are also non-coding career path. You don't need to learn how to code. For so many people, this is not the time you want to start learning how to code. You've probably worked as a care worker. You probably worked in the banking industry back in your home country. You moved to the UK, you moved to any other country, and now maybe you're currently doing a survival job and you want to get into a progressive career path again. Okay. You don't want to spend so much time learning how to code. What you want to do is, I want to get the skills, I want to gain work experience, and I'm not really interested in coding at this point in time. If not, there are other career paths that requires coding, but I've excluded them from here. Okay. So now, which of these areas are the best for you? So what I'll do is I'll show you all the 6 career paths I've listed, and I hope you took note of them. I'll walk you through them one after the other and the type of skills or question you need to ask yourself to determine where you fit in. So I'm going to ask you those questions and I'll show you the different, characteristics you're meant to have, the different attributes and skills. And then you can determine if, based on my personality, I think this is the best career path for me. All right. So first of all is the curious problem solver. Okay, the curious problem solver. So if you are somebody, the question you want to ask yourself is, or the question I'll ask you is, are you somebody who is curious? You always ask questions. And the major question you ask is what? Why? Not really what, because what, anybody can show you what. What type of tool is this? What do we use for this? But you want to know the why behind everything. Why does this work this way? Why do we do things like this? Why do we analyze this way? So if you're always curious naturally, okay, you enjoy working with numbers and information. So you are not faced with working with numbers. You are not faced with working with so much information. Again, do you often notice patterns that others miss? So people might look at something and miss a lot, but you don't miss it. You notice patterns. You like finding answers and solving problems. Are you interested in finding answers to questions that have been asked? Are you interested in finding solutions to problems that exist? And do people rely on you to explain things clearly? All right. So these are some of the questions you want to ask yourself. And of course, who are the type of people that fit into these type of roles? Accountants, for example, financial professionals, an admin professional, customer service reps, teachers, researchers, sales and marketing professionals, and of course, operations staff. And what type of skills do you want to look at that perhaps I have these skills and I qualify for this particular career path? Are you analytical in your thinking? You pay attention to detail. You have a curious mindset. You like solving problems. So problem solving is one of your soft skills. Communication, you like to communicate. And decision making. If this is you, then the best career path for you is data analytics. As a data analyst, what do? You're always going to ask questions. And the two major questions you would ask in any business, in any organization, number one is what happened? And number two is why did it happen? These are the two most important questions you are always going to ask as a data analyst. And for you to answer these questions, you're going to gather data, analyze the data to find out what happened between January to July 2026. How many new customers did we get? How many customers did we lose? If I work with Netflix, for example, how many new subscribers did we get? How many subscriptions did we lose? How many accounts are sharing passwords? I want to know what happened. If I know what happened, I can then find out why did it happen? Why did we have an increase in this month and have a decline in a particular month? Why did we have more subscribers in Q1 and lesser subscribers in Q2? So you're always going to answer these questions using what? Data. And when you find those patterns and insights based on what happened and why it happened, you share those your insights with management and your recommendations on what should be done so that the management can take the best decisions. That is you as a data analyst. All right. So you are curious, naturally curious. You enjoy solving problems. You like finding meaning in information. I was like that. I always liked asking questions. I always liked when I analyze data, I find out a problem that has existed and we didn't know. And I'm ready to present that information and share. This is what I saw, and this is how I think we can solve the problem. After analyzing the data, I noticed that we are losing over $600 million month on month for the past 6 months in a particular location. And the reason why we are losing this money is because of we don't have this type of product or services in this particular location. And this is what I think we need to do. That's how the data analyst would communicate after analyzing data. So you present your dashboards using Excel, using Power BI, and so on. So what do you learn as a data analyst? I'm going to share that with you as well. So you start to know what to focus on and so on. All right. So as a data analyst, the very first thing you'd learn is problem solving. You saw that problem solving is one of the key skills you need to have. After learning problem solving, you move into Microsoft Excel. The mistake people make here, let me talk about this a little before I move on. The mistake people make, and I see this happening so many times, people dive into the tools and the technologies. They dive into Excel. But again, why Excel? Why can't we use a different tool to answer this question or solve this problem? And that's why problem solving is very important. Problem solving would help you understand why a problem exists, or is this even a problem? And when you know what the problem looks like, you start to learn techniques like the McKinsey-Macy model to help you break a big problem into small parts and use something like the prioritization matrix to identify which problem do I solve first? What do I solve next? How do I prioritize? How do I even get to the root cause of that problem using the 5 why technique? Asking why 5 times until I get to the root cause. So you need to know if you understand the problem, where the problem exists. Do we have the data to solve the problem? What type of solutions are we looking for? And what's the best tool to use to solve this problem? That is all done under problem solving. It's only when you know this, you can move into Excel and start learning the technologies. But people do it the opposite. And that's why they get it wrong. And they really don't have the skills employers want from you. So remember, your foundation is extremely critical. So as a data analyst, you're going to learn problem solving. Then you move to Microsoft Excel. You learn SQL, structured query language. You need to know SQL because data would be stored in a database. And SQL is what you'd use to extract data from that database. Power BI for your data visualization and dashboarding. Tableau for your business intelligence. Data storytelling, because you're always going to communicate, share your insights with the management. They don't understand your technical jargons. You want to know how to communicate in a simple manner as possible, where that CEO or your team lead or the chief marketing and strategy officer understand what you're saying based on the analysis you've carried out. You need to know how to tell a story. Then you learn generative AI for analytics using ChatGPT as a data analyst and Microsoft Fabric, where you bring all these tools into one single environment that helps you automate your work. All right. So these are the tools and technologies you would learn. Okay. And how long does it take for you to learn this? It takes roughly about 8 months. And I'm going to break this down as we move on. Okay. For a lot of people, they want to become a data analyst in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. I see a lot of people posting things like that. They will become a data analyst in 6 weeks. It's practically impossible. Okay. And the reason why I say this is you need enough time to at least understand problem solving, Excel, and SQL at the minimum. And I'll show you somebody that actually got a job within the space of about 3 months. So she didn't have to stay for 8 months to land the job. She got a job after 3 months. But that's another approach when applying to jobs. Okay. So 6 months learning and then 2 months internship. Why do you need the internship? Employers have too many candidates that have certificates, too many candidates that have learned in different locations, different platforms, and so on. I'm sure there are some of you here today that have probably done a course here or there. Employers already know this. The NHS already knows this. Okay, so they're not really bothered about your certificates. What they want to see is your work experience. Have you worked before? What experience do you have? And the internship gives you that. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter where you are. In the UK, for example, you have classes on Saturdays. All right, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And for those in Canada, for those in the US, you have a class from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So there's a class for everyone based on your location. So someone in the UK or the US is not joining class at odd hours. All right, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the UK, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the US, Canada, Mountain Time. Okay. Now, what this also means is If I miss a class in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and I'm in the UK, I can join a class for those in the US or Canada, which would roughly be around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. my time. So you have that flexibility as well. Every other day outside Saturday, you have a self-paced platform. And I'll show you that platform before we wrap up today. But you're going to spend 6 months learning and then 2 months internship. And these are the things you need to learn for the data analyst. I want you to start making a note of that because I'm going to ask a question when I show you all the career path. Okay. Now let's move into the healthcare insights finder. So we talked about the data analyst. You've seen the skills. You've seen what you need to ask, the questions you need to ask yourself. Now, these are another set of questions for a different career path. Are you passionate about helping people? Do you enjoy working with numbers and information, just like the data analyst? Are you naturally observant? And are you detail oriented? Do you like identifying patterns and solving problems? Would you enjoy using data to improve patient care? So this sounds a lot like the data analyst, but has a flair of healthcare within it. Do you like helping people? Do you like using data to improve patient care and so on and so forth? And who fits into this role? If you're a nurse, a healthcare assistant, you're a domiciliary care worker, personal support worker, a care worker, a pharmacist, pharmacy assistant, medical lab professional, public health professional, or you have education in healthcare or in any health sciences, you studied a master's in public health in the UK, and so on and so on, you fit into this career path. Any professional interested in healthcare. And what skills do you need to have in terms of soft skills? Analytical thinking, attention to detail, problem solving, communication, and confidentiality and ethics. Okay. And this is the best career path is the health tech analyst. So if you see yourself in any of these roles, I want you to start writing it down. Oh, I see myself as a data analyst. Oh, I see myself as a health tech analyst. The health tech analyst is a data analyst that works in healthcare. So if you want to get into the NHS, you want to get into a medical organization, you want to work with a medical organization as a data analyst, this is the best career path for you to follow. And it's a tremendous career path as well. Because what do? You do exactly what the data analyst does, but you work with healthcare records, healthcare data, patient data, clinical data, and so on. You don't work with business data, customer data, sales data. You work with what? Healthcare records, patient records, clinical data, and you analyze the data to help the healthcare organization make the best decisions to improve patient care. For example, which department has the longest length of stay? Which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Do people in the oncology department keep patients longer, and why do they keep patients longer? You are analyzing data like that so you can help the healthcare administrators to make better decisions on resource allocation, bed allocation, and so on and so forth. All right. Then let's move as a healthcare analyst. What do you need to have? Exactly what the data analyst has. You learn the exact same set of skills: problem solving, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, generative AI for data analytics using ChatGPT, and Microsoft Fabric. The difference between the health tech analyst and the data analyst is the health tech analyst, let me call them the HTA. When you are learning, 80% of your projects, 80% of the projects you work on would be what? Healthcare related. So you're going to work on healthcare related projects. Unlike the data analyst that would work on projects in retail, FMCG, transportation, aviation, and so on, you would focus 80% of your projects on healthcare projects. And I'll show you some of the projects and how the projects look like. The timeline is the same: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Again, the NHS would not want anybody to come on board. They want to see somebody that has done work, projects within the healthcare space. And by the time I start to show you those that have landed jobs, you'd see exactly what I mean. You'll understand exactly what I mean by they want to see somebody who has worked on projects in healthcare and have done healthcare related, projects to give them experience. I'll show you what that means and so on. All right. So this is for the health tech analyst. The health tech analyst, like I said, is a data analyst that works in healthcare. So 80% of your projects are healthcare projects. The remaining 20% are in other sectors. So you'd still work on projects in other sectors so that you understand what a data analyst would do in a bank, for example, or what a data analyst would do if I work with, let's say, Tesco, a retail organization. What would a data analyst do with data in Tesco? All right. What would a data analyst do with data in any organization? All right. So you'll get to work on other sectors apart from healthcare, but majority of the projects are healthcare related. Okay. And that cuts across for the business analyst as well. So for somebody who is interested in business analysis, here are some of the questions you want to ask yourself. And you start to see where they differentiate themselves from the data analyst. Okay. So are you naturally curious about how businesses work? Do you enjoy identifying problems and suggesting solutions? Are you good at asking questions and listening to people? Do you like improving processes and making things more efficient? Okay. Then, if you're an administrative professional, you're a teacher, a customer service rep, a care worker, an operations staff, a HR professional, virtual assistant, it's a role you might want to consider, a career path. You have good communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, active listening, stakeholder management, process improvement. The career path you want to consider is what? The business analyst career path. Unlike the data analyst, as a business analyst, your focus is on what? Process. How do I make this process more efficient? How do I make this particular process faster? And for me to do that, I need to understand the process. And in understanding the process, I need to speak to different stakeholders involved in each process. The receptionist, the team lead, the head of the unit. I need to speak to different people. And that's why you need very good communication skills. You need to know how to ask the right questions, elicitation. You need to know how to elicit information by asking the right question. You need to know how to listen actively so you understand exactly what is required to solve that problem. Okay, so you're identifying business problems, recommending solutions, you are gathering requirements, you understand what this problem entails, understand what is required from the customer's perspective, from the business perspective, and you get to work with the technology team to develop a solution. You don't develop the solution yourself. You recommend. The development team, the technology team would build that solution for you. And when they build a solution, what do? You ensure that everybody understands that new process. They understand how to use that new solution. So you're going to organize training sessions for them, workshops, and so on and so forth. You don't need to have any previous tech experience to get into any of the areas I've shared so far. So as a business analyst, what do you need to learn? You start with Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you learn process mapping, because for you to improve a process, you need to know what the process entails. So you need to learn how to use tools like Lucid Charts and Draw.io to map out processes so you can identify the gaps and inefficiencies within the process. You would learn project initiation planning. You'd learn how to use the Agile methodology and the Scrum framework on projects. You get to learn the software development lifecycle. And when you are learning these project management skills, you learn how to use tools like Confluence to collaborate on projects, Jira to track project deliverables, Trello to track your team members' tasks, responsibilities, and activities. You're going to learn how to gather requirements, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder management and analysis, and generative AI for the business analysts. You would implement the Agile methodology using Azure DevOps and also generative AI for the business analyst using ChatGPT. And of course, same timeline, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. That's what it takes to get into this career path. Then you have the healthcare process optimizer. This is simply the business analyst within healthcare. Okay. And the question you need to ask yourself is everything the business analyst would ask, including, are you passionate about helping people? Are you interested in working in healthcare? Do you want to optimize healthcare processes? If patients have to wait so long to see the GP, to see the physician, why do they have to wait so long? Can I look at the process from start till finish and identify the gaps and inefficiencies and recommend a more seamless, and streamlined process? Okay. And of course, who fits into this role? If you've worked as a nurse, healthcare assistant, as a care worker, if you've worked in healthcare, you fit into this role. Or you have education in healthcare, you fit into this role. What type of skills do you need to have? Communication skills, problem solving, stakeholder management, process improvement, and what career path? The healthcare business analyst. So you're a business analyst, but you work in healthcare. So you're optimizing healthcare processes. You are making patients get faster care. You are streamlining the appointment booking process. If customers have to call to book appointments, you would go in, look at the process, and recommend that we need to have a patient management system where patients can book appointments online. And the appointment would sync with the GP's calendar, and the appointment would also sync with the patient's calendar, and they get automated reminders. When you recommend that solution, you would work with the technology team and ensure that they build a solution that works for that healthcare organization, that works for that hospital. And by doing that, rather than patients calling to book appointments, they can now book appointments online. What have you done? You've streamlined that process. You've made that process more efficient. And that's the healthcare business analyst. Don't forget, you need to start identifying where you fit in. Okay. Again, you don't need any previous experience to get into this role. And just like the business analyst, you learn the exact same skills, the exact same tools. The only difference between you and a conventional business analyst is 80% of your projects, 80% of the work that you do would be healthcare related projects. They'll be healthcare related. And only 20% would be in other sectors. So at least you understand what a business analyst would do if they work with NatWest, the Lloyds Banking Group, if they work in Scotiabank or they work with TD Bank. What would a business analyst do in those other sectors? You'd understand from the 20% project in other sectors, but majority of your projects would be in healthcare. The timeline is the same, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Then the last career path is the Agile project manager. Okay. And the question you want to ask yourself is, are you naturally organized? Do you enjoy coordinating people and tasks? Are you good at motivating people? Can you adapt quickly when plans change? Do you enjoy helping teams to achieve their goals? And for somebody who is in administration, operations, event coordinators, you've worked in planning and coordination at any point in your career, you have a project management certification, or you've done something project management related, it's a fantastic career path for you to choose. Again, you need to have skills in leadership, communication, organization, adaptability, risk and time management, and of course, conflict resolution. As an agile project manager, remember your focus is to use the agile methodology to bring projects to life. And what does the agile methodology, what does it center around? It simply says, if you have a project that is this big, as an agile project manager, what do? You break them into small parts. Break it into small parts. Complete the first one, sprint one. Complete the second one. And when you complete the first one, you deploy that solution. So let's say the healthcare business analyst has recommended that we need a patient management system in this hospital. And the patient management system would have different features. One of the features is for patients to book appointments online. Another feature is the calendar sync to the GPs and to the patients. What does the Agile project manager do? They take that project of the patient management system and they take the first feature, which is patients booking appointments online. The Agile project manager would manage the project. This particular feature of booking appointments online is designed, developed, delivered, and it is deployed. So the patient management system would be deployed with one feature. Patient gets to use it to book appointments online. They test it, they use it, we get feedback and use that feedback to make it better. Okay, when they've done that, they start working on the second feature. So agile simply means that we don't need to complete the entire project before we deploy. We can complete one part of the project and deploy, get feedback, make it better, deploy again, add other features as we move on. That's how the agile project manager works. Okay, so you break large projects into smaller manageable stages. You coordinate your team members, your different project team to ensure that you meet the timeline, you utilize the budget, and you're able to identify risk and mitigate those risks. What skills do you need to have? You need to know the different project management methodologies, communication skills in project management, the agile and the agile methodology, the Scrum framework. You need to understand that. And agile in itself comprises of Scrum, Kanban, and the Lean framework. And you need to learn all these different frameworks. So you learn Kanban, you learn Scrum, you learn the Lean, and so on. Okay. So you learn the Scrum artifacts, end-to-end use of Jira. So you're going to learn how to use Jira to track deliverables, Confluence to collaborate on projects, Trello to track projects, team members, their tasks and responsibilities. You'd learn how to use Draw.io to map out processes within projects, and you'd also get to learn how to use ChatGPT as a project manager. We also help you prepare for the professional Scrum Master certification. Now, this simply means that as an Agile project manager, you can also get a job as a Scrum Master, because Scrum is one of the frameworks under Agile. So you have more opportunities of job application. Okay. Again, it's 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Finally, you have the healthcare organized planner, and this is your healthcare project manager. So you're a project manager, but you ask yourself the question on, are you passionate about improving healthcare services? That's the major difference. So the healthcare project manager is a project manager that works in healthcare. All right. And of course, you need to have, if you're a nurse, you have a healthcare experience, healthcare knowledge, you're a care worker, you are a support worker, you are a project coordinator, you've done something and you are interested in working in healthcare, then you want to choose this pathway. And of course, your soft skills, just like the project manager, leadership, organization, adaptability, risk and time management, and so on and so forth. And that is the healthcare project manager. You manage healthcare projects. You work with teams to deliver successful healthcare projects. When a team wants to build a solution, deploy a particular system, you work to ensure that nothing while the project commences to when it is deployed, no patient care is trampled upon, nobody has to wait longer, and you deliver a seamless project. Okay. And of course, like the health, just like the project's agile project manager, you learn the same skills as a healthcare project manager. The only difference is your project would be healthcare related, just like the healthcare data analyst and the healthcare business analyst. The timeline is the same: 6 months learning, 2 months internship. So now that we've seen all the career path, and like we said that the most important thing is career eligibility. You want to get into the career path that is in high demand. You want to get into the career path that is eligible for sponsorship. You want to get into the career path that give you sponsorship. So which of these 6 career paths are you interested in? I want you to type it into the chat. Then I'll show you the exact way the NHS would score your application. We're going to do a live simulation. We'll take a job role and I'll show you the things the NHS focuses on so that the next time you apply, you ensure that you land the job. All right. So type into the chat, which of these career paths are you interested in? Abigail says the healthcare project manager. Fantastic. Let's get more feedback. Okay. More feedback. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it exciting. More feedback, more feedback, more feedback. Okay. Ayonfe Olua, healthcare project manager. Fantastic. Let's get more feedback coming in. Chinemere says data analyst. Brilliant. Olua Fumbi says healthcare data analyst. Currently work as a data facilitator. Fantastic. Emmanuel, healthcare data analyst. Benedicta, healthcare business analyst. Dorothy, healthcare business analyst. Ayo says agile project manager. Brilliant. Nat says data analyst. Charity, healthcare data analyst. Absolutely phenomenal. That's the first thing. And it doesn't matter where you are at the moment. Get into a high demand career path. Now, for those who want to land a job in the NHS, get visa sponsorship, you've chosen one of the high demand areas. Now, have people done this before? Are there people that have gotten jobs? Okay. I want to show you a couple of success stories and what they learned and the type of job that they got. Okay. And then I'll show you the score, how the NHS would score you when you apply. So if you've been applying using your CV or you've been applying in different forms, you get to see where you're making mistakes and what you need to change. And I'm going to start by sharing Uloma. Uloma's job came in early this year in January 2026. What did Uloma learn? Uloma joined us last year in October, joined our health tech analyst program. So remember, the data analyst works in different sectors. The health tech analyst is a data analyst that works in healthcare. Okay. So Uloma joined the health tech analyst program in October 2025, and she got a job 4 months after as an information analyst with the NHS. And this came with visa sponsorship. Now, why is this important? It's important for 2 major reasons. Number one, Uloma did health tech, but her job title did not necessarily say, oh, health tech analyst or healthcare something. It said what? Information analyst. It only shows you that different organizations classify different career paths with different job titles. And we're going to see that when we go to the NHS website. Somebody studied health tech analyst and the person got a job as a health informatics support worker. And I'm going to show you that. So this is Uloma. In 4 months, she got a job. Within 4 months as an information analyst, and a job came with visa sponsorship. And this is what a reference looks like. So the NHS reached out to us. They sent a reference. Dear Adeza Suleiman, Okay, Dea Deza Suleiman, we are considering this candidate. This candidate has been offered the post of information analyst and has given us the permission to approach you for a reference. So the NHS wants to know, you've worked with Uloma before. Could you let me have your opinion regarding Uloma's suitability? All right. And then you have Moreni KG. Moreni KG joined the Health Tech Analyst program in January this year. And just after 5 months, Moreni KG got a job also with the NHS as a health informatics support worker. So a lot of people ask me the question, how do I get a job in health informatics? Well, I want to work as a health informatics professional. The health tech analyst is the best career path for you to follow. So Mary Minikeji got a job as a health informatics support worker, joined the health tech analyst program in January this year, 2026. And by May, 18th of May, the reference came in for Moreni KG, who got a job with the NHS, the Dorset County Hospital, one of the NHS Foundation trusts. Also, a role that came with visa sponsorship. Same with Ahmed. And because these roles are very recent, you don't see any pictures there. Usually people are more confident to share their pictures and share their details when they've stayed on the role for about 6 months or even longer. Okay. So you have somebody like Ahmed. Ahmed also joined the Health Tech Analyst program. He joined us sometime last year and he got a job in June 2025 as a health informatics support worker. And you can see when his reference came in, they sent a reference to Tenalytics directly to me saying that we want you to give a recommendation on Ahmed. Okay, so the above named has been offered the health informatics support worker role, and he has given us the permission to approach you for a reference. I'd be grateful if you could let me have your opinion regarding his suitability for the post by completing the attached reference request form. Then you have somebody like Zulay. Zulay also had no experience. Ahmed had no experience. Uloma had no experience within all these areas. But what did they do? They learned the skills. They joined. Zulay joined the business analysis program. And last year, 21st of March, she got a job with the Humber Health Partnership as a project support officer. What program did she join? The business analysis program. Again, with the NHS. And the job came with visa sponsorship. Then you have Mary. Mary joined the data analytics program and she got a job last year, May 2025, as a junior IT service desk analyst. All of these are healthcare related roles. The Newcastle NHS Trust. Then you have Ade. Adeolua got a job as a senior project manager with the Lincolnshire Teaching Hospital, one of the NHS trusts, after completing the Agile Project Management Program. He got the job last year, October 2025. He joined the Agile Project Management Program. He got a job. The type of job he wanted with the NHS, visa-sponsored job, so he could stay back in the UK and work with this amazing organization. And the big question is, all these professionals are a testament that these jobs are available and I can get the job. A lot of people thought after the whole, immigration chaos this year, sponsorship would close or dry up. It's a little bit more difficult to get sponsorship today, especially for those who don't know how to apply specific strategies. But if you know what you're doing, you've done all the things I've shared with you so far, you are inching closer to getting that sponsorship. And those were the things these professionals did, and they got their visa sponsorship. And they got a job with the NHS, different roles, different areas, and so on and so forth. All right. So Once you've gotten the right career path, like you've all suggested, you've all indicated your interest, the next thing is you need to know how the scoring works for the NHS. How do they score you? Because the application process is not exactly the same as any other application. You don't submit a CV. Okay. So how do I get a high score to get invited for an interview? The only way you get invited is if your score is high. And the only way your score would get high, you'll be assigned a score by the HR system, not a human being. So nobody's going to read what you've submitted and invite you for an interview. Before your application gets to a person, a human being, you are assigned a score first of all. Okay. And the score determines if you get an interview or not. So we're going to look at that and how that works. And one of the things you must do, and this is also important. So once you've identified an eligible career path as a data analyst, a health tech analyst, or as a business analyst, a healthcare business analyst, or as a project manager, agile project manager, or healthcare project manager, the second thing is you must know how the scoring works. And one of the things I would emphasize is the person specification. It is extremely important. I'm emphasizing on extremely. It is the NHS scorecard. That's what they want to see. The person specification. So a lot of people do something. They go to the job board, and I'm going to go to the job board in a few seconds. They go to the job board, they look at the job, they tweak their CV, and they start filling the application form. Because you don't send a CV to apply to the NHS. You fill a form, complete it, and then you submit. If you go that route, you're not likely going to get selected. And so many people get rejections because they don't follow the right approach. So every single criteria, you have the criteria broken into sometimes essential. You're going to see the essential criteria. Sometimes you'd see desirable. So desirable criteria are not essential. But if you have them, you get additional points. But before you get into desirable, the essential criteria, you must match them. And when I say match them, your supporting statements must have the exact same language in the person specification. So if the person specification says we want somebody that has experience using Excel Power Query, you must have in your supporting statement how you used Excel Power Query. You can't modify, you can't put Microsoft Excel. If they say we want Excel Power Query, okay, and this is how it's written, Excel Power Query. This is how it's written in the person's specification. You can't go into your supporting statement and put Microsoft Excel Power Query. You think you've even added, in the Nigerian parlance, would say you've added, Jara. Okay, you've added something to it, and you think that that will give you access to the job. Guess what? You're likely going to get points deduction for that. I was speaking to a recruiter at the NHS some time ago, and the person was like, look, if you can even copy the person's specification, copy and paste in your supporting statement, please do that. And that's simply because you must use the right language, the same keywords. Okay. And more importantly, you must prove, there must be proof that that thing in the person specification, you don't just know it, but you've actually practicalized it in the real world and in a real world environment, which means you must show experience. That's the first thing you want to do. So I'm going to take the next 2 to 3 minutes and we're going to get into the NHS job board. If you're having a good time so far, just type in a yes into the chat. If you're learning something so far, just type in a yes. I want to get a pulse check of those of you in the session today. Dorothy says yes. Fumbi says yes. Yes, I'm learning. Fantastic. One thing I promised you at the beginning was you are going to get value for your time. Okay. So I'm going to stick to that promise. Now let's go to the NHS. Um, NHS. I'm just going to click. You type in NHS jobs, NHS job board. Type something on Google. It's going to pop up. But it's jobs.nhs.uk. Okay, jobs.nhs.uk. But if you type NHS jobs in Google, you'll get the search results. Okay, so I'm going to type that in and hit enter. And this takes me to the NHS job board. Okay, you'll be required to create an account before you apply to any job. You can create an account. If you have an account, you can sign in and so on and so forth. But we're not doing all of that today. Now, I want to show you why the person, like I said, the person specification is extremely important. And of course, you have to prove it with work experience as well. Okay, so we're going to search for a role. I'm just going to type data analyst. I'm not going to enter any postcode or town or city. You can do that if you want to get a job in a specific area or you want to get a job in a specific, city within the UK and all of that. So I'll just type in data analyst and click on search. And currently there are about 3,279 jobs found for the data analyst. A lot of jobs. Some of them might not meet the threshold, the salary thresholds for sponsorship. So you would also want to look at that. But let's look at this data analyst role, for example. Okay, the Northwest Ambulance Service NHS Trust, Manchester, salary 32 to 39,000, contract permanent, full-time. It was posted yesterday and it would close on the 3rd of August. So you have enough time to apply. So let's check this out. And I want to show you something. If we get to this particular role, you want to look for something. Okay, so if you look at the main duties, you scroll down, you look at the job description, you would always get to see what the person's specification. Remember, this is one of the most important things you want to take note of, the person's specification. But don't just browse through this. Don't just browse through this. Look for documents attached to this role, the supporting documents. Okay, so you have the job description right here. So if I click on the job description, it's going to download the job description for me. I'm going to open it up and show you what it looks like. Just give me 1 second. It went straight into my downloads. So I'd open up the job description, and this is what the job description looks like. All right, it's a band 5 role. Data analyst with the Northwest Ambulance Service NHS Trust. I can scroll all the way down. The purpose of the job. You see all these subtle messages, the key principles or the values of this particular trust, working together, being at our best, making a difference in service to our people. You want to find a way to couch that and embed it within your supporting statement. It's extremely important because you don't want to show that you're sending a generic application. You want to show that you're tailoring your application to this particular trust and to this particular role. Okay, so you're going to see the job purpose. It's important to go through this line by line. Okay, the core duties and responsibilities. You can see them properly broken down, data analysis and reporting. What are you going to do here? You can see some of the tools you would use, Power BI. I highlighted that as part of the things you'd learn as a health tech analyst, Power BI, and so on and so forth. Communication and relationship. So let's scroll all the way down. Learning, training, and development. But there's something I want us to look at carefully. You can see safeguarding children is also one of the key aspects. Okay, safeguarding adults, one of the key aspects. All these things must be captured in your supporting statement, most especially the person specification. Okay, and like I said, if you can even copy and paste, okay, but not just copy and paste it. You want to make some edits, but use the same language. They have one of the specifications says ability to interpret data and identify trends. You can't use a different language and say something else. You need to have somewhere in your supporting statement that showed how you interpreted data and identified a particular trend. And most importantly, what was the impact? If you haven't done it before, there's no way you'd have something to put in your supporting statement. Okay. You have enthusiastic and positive approach to work. This must be captured as well in your supporting statement. Every single thing. And this one has not been broken down into essential and desirable. This means everything here are essential and you must treat it as essential, which means you must have that embedded, woven through your supporting statement. Okay. So the NHS would not collect a CV from you. They collect a supporting statement. You're going to type that supporting statement when applying. How do you generate a proper supporting statement? Okay. I'll show you how to do that with maybe 2 clicks of a button. And the reason why Tenalytics has helped so many people get into the NHS, you start to see the reason why. All right. When you come to experience, you'd see what they want you to have. Experience in data analysis and report writing. Experience in using Excel for data analysis. Experience in using SQL. Remember, the same things I shared with you earlier: Excel, SQL, problem solving, data storytelling, Microsoft Power BI, and so on and so forth. You're going to learn all these things, but more importantly, you get to practicalize them during your internship and the project to complete. That's what the person specification does for you. If you don't take note of that and weave all those things into your supporting statement, you have a lesser score than somebody who has done that. So which means if you don't have work experience, forget it. You're going to struggle to get that interview. The second thing you have to take note of is the JD. So not just the person specification this time around, but the job description. Like I mentioned earlier, when you look at the specification here, there was nothing that they said essential, desirable. For some roles, you'd see them properly separating the essential and the desirable. So a lot of people treat desirable as if you have it is an advantage. No, you have to treat it just like the essential. You should have the desirable as well. When you add the desirable to the essential, that gives you a higher score. And finally, like I said, the NHS does not work with CV. You must write a proper supporting statement. And I'm going to show you how to write a proper supporting statement by the click of a button. So what we've done at Tenalytics is we've worked with over 200 plus people that have gotten jobs, 237 plus to be specific, that currently works with the NHS. They went through Tenalytics, they got jobs with the NHS in different capacities. I've shown you some of them, and I'll show you some more as we move on. All right. Business architects, pathology data analyst, pharmacy data analyst, information analyst, and so on and so forth. Here's how they generate supporting statements. Okay. I'll show you how to do that. So it's not a hassle. By the click of a button, you have a supporting statement that beats any competitor out there. All right. And that's using a tool that we designed in-house called CV Matchly. CV Matchly is built for those that have joined Tenalytics and are a part of the Tenalytics ecosystem. So if I show you what I'll show you your learning management system, for example. So for anybody who joins Tenalytics, you have something called a learning management system. You have a dashboard, and in your dashboard, you'd see CV Matchly. CV Matchly is a tool, a proprietary tool built in-house to do amazing stuff for you. Your CVs, your supporting statements, and even automatically helping you populate job application forms. so that for somebody that it takes about 30 minutes to apply to one job, you can apply to that job in 2 minutes. So you apply to more jobs compared to other people. And that's part of the reason why so many of our alumni got jobs and currently work with the NHS today. So I'm going to show you how CV Matchly works and how you can use CV Matchly to generate your supporting statements easily in 2 steps. Okay. So here is the role I want to apply to from the NHS job board. So what do? I launch CV Matchly from my browser. I've already installed. So I launch CV Matchly on my browser. Okay. I'm going to remove the CV that was there initially, and I'm going to upload a new CV. So I'll click on upload. I'd upload a new CV. So let's upload a new CV very quickly. So I'd upload this CV. So let's wait for this to finish. So it's analyzing the CV that was there before. It takes sometimes maybe about 60 seconds or thereabouts, but I'm just going to wait for it to complete. And then I'll upload a new CV, and then you'd see exactly how this does the magic for you. Okay. So let's just wait for this to complete in the next 60 seconds or thereabouts. Let me just close this. Okay. So that we don't waste any time. All right. So let's upload that CV again. At the moment I upload the CV, okay. Let me just sign out and sign in again. All right. Let me sign out and sign in again, and let's give it a shot, and I'll show you exactly how to get this done. All right. Just give me 1 second. I'll get my password, and you'd see the beauty. If I can't demonstrate how it analyzes the CV, I'll simply just show you how it generates the statement straight up, so that we don't waste time at all. Okay. All right. Let me just get the password very quickly. Okay. So let's get started. So let's try one more time. Let me upload the CV now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you how I'm having some issues uploading the CV right now. I think because I'm using an admin account, so it's just giving me a little bit of issues. So I'm going to show you how when you upload the CV and optimize the CV, you have that on your dashboard. Now, when you have it on your dashboard, you've applied to that particular job. You come to your job application tracker, and all you need to do, you can see different roles here from the NHS. This is a senior project manager role. This is a pharmacy and medicine data analyst role, clinical data analyst role, senior information analyst role, so many NHS roles. All right. So what I was trying to do here, but I couldn't do simply because I'm using an admin account and I ran out of credits, is I would optimize my CV and have the job show. It will pop up right here. When it pops up right here, I want to generate a supporting statement, and I don't want to have to write it myself. I don't want to have to go to ChatGPT to generate a template AI format that everybody else can get and have similar supporting statements to myself. So what do? I would simply click on this, and I would say generate supporting statements. At the moment I click on generate supporting statement, CV Matchly would use my CV, look at the role I've applied to, and generate a supporting statement that optimizes my CV for that role. And all I have to do is take that supporting statement, copy, paste it in the job application when I'm applying to the NHS, and I can make a few adjustments. So my supporting statement has been generated, and I just click on download supporting statement. All right. I are going to see the supporting statement right here. And more importantly, what do you get to see? You get to see evidence-based achievements. Remember when I said you must show that you have work experience, not just I have done this course, I've completed this program, I've watched this video. You get to see you worked on something and it reduced cross-project risk by 35%, quantifiable metrics, and improved resource allocation accuracy by 20%. And if you scroll all the way through, you would see the same things aligned to the jobs you've applied to. And all I need to do is copy this entire supporting statement. I copy everything, I paste it where I have my job application, and I make a few adjustments. And it shows how my role, my CV aligns to that particular NHS value, and so on and so forth. So one of the things you'd see when you looked at the job description that I showed you earlier, they specifically mentioned how you take care of your patients, childcare, adult care, and all of that. And you want to show those values, but you don't have to create it yourself. CV Matchly does it for you automatically. All you have to do is go to CV Matchly, click on generate supporting statements. It generates it for you. You download the supporting statements and you use that to make your application. This is one of the powerful tools that helped over 237 plus people to not just learn, but also land interviews and land jobs with the NHS. For somebody like Ikmat, who was a stay-at-home mom, she moved to the UK for her master's in public health, and Ikmat was able to get a job 3 months into her program. I talked about a lady who got a job 3 months into the program. That's Ikmat. Ikmat did her data analytics program with us. While doing her master's, she realized that to get a job with the NHS, you need to know Excel, SQL, problem solving, but she wasn't learning that during her master's. So she joined us, completed the program, and she got a job as an information analyst. Today, Ikmat is one of the mentors in our program, simply because she's been on the role for quite a while right now, and she has the experience to mentor other people. Okay, and I'm just going to show you Ikmat's profile very quickly. You have somebody like Ikmat, you have somebody like Ramat doing amazing stuff within the NHS. Okay, so I'm going to show you their profiles very quickly, and then we'll start to wrap up our session today. I'll tell you what you need to do to also be like these professionals. So for someone like Ikmat, who was a stay-at-home mom, got a job with the NHS, joined our data analytics program. But what type of job did she get? Information analyst role is one of the most popular roles you'd see within the NHS, information analyst. If you go to the NHS job board and type data analyst, healthcare data analyst, information analyst is likely going to pop up. And you can see data analyst with Tenalytics. That was her previous role before she got a job with the NHS. And this is also very instructive because experience is what gives that employer the convenience and being comfortable to hire you. It gives them the conviction that you know what to do because you've done it before. And Ikmat was able to show that I've worked as a data analyst with Tenalytics, and that's the only reason why the NHS also sends a reference to us. Okay, you have somebody like Ramat. Ramat was a customer resolution agent in the UK. Today, she's a business architect, also with the NHS. You have somebody like Olufumilayo. Olufumilayo joined one of our programs, got a job in February last year, as an ERP business intelligence and reporting analyst. You have Toyin. Toyin got her first job as a benefits analyst after joining our data analytics program. Then she moved from the role of benefit analyst to pharmacy data analyst. Okay. And these are some of the interesting roles you get to see within the NHS. If you see Tosin, for example, let me see if I can find Tosin. Tosin Eleja, I think that's her name. Tosin Eleja. I can't remember her full Toyin, sorry, not Tosin. This is Tosin. Interestingly, this is Tosin Eleja, and she also worked with us. She joined our data engineering program, got a job with Circle as a data entry and operation support officer. But this is Toyin Eleja. That's the person I wanted to show you earlier. Toyin got her first job as a benefits analyst, like I showed you the reference. Then she got another role with the NHS as a pharmacy data analyst. And that's Toyin right here. Okay. And that's exactly what these professionals did. You have somebody like Mawutin. Mawutin got a job as a pathology data analyst, also with the NHS. And like I mentioned earlier, we have over 237 alumni working with the NHS on visa sponsorship. Now, they got these jobs doing everything I've shown you how to do so far, everything I've taught you so far, with a little addition. So what else did they do? They gained work experience to show proof, because your person specification, your supporting statements, you must show that you have experience doing that job. And how did they show experience? They showed experience in two major ways. Number one, all the projects they completed, like I showed you when I was explaining the career path, 80% were in healthcare. So if I did the health tech analyst program, I want to get into the NHS, I must work on healthcare projects. So when I get into an interview, I can speak the language of that organization. So I'll show you what a class looks like, and I'll show you the type of project and the portfolio you must have. Okay. So in a health tech class, for example, this is a health tech program that started in March this year, 2603. While learning Power BI, you don't learn Power BI as a health tech professional by doing what? Working on sales data or retail data. No, your projects are healthcare related. So if you look at this project, for example, this for the NHS England, and it's a project on venous thromboembolism. So what you are doing is you are building a compliance dashboard to help the NHS reduce the risk of venous thromboembolism. Is a particular ailment that the NHS is trying to solve. So you get this particular project, and what do? You look at the rationale of the project, you look at what you need to solve this project, and together with your facilitator, you solve the problem. And this is done in a live class. So the classes are all recorded. So if you miss the class, you can always come back and you can watch exactly what happened in that class. So you can come here and see what happened. Okay, so you can come to the class, see what the project looked like, what the class entailed on that Saturday, and you work on this project together step by step until you complete the project in Power BI. That's how you learn in a project-based environment. And this is what shows you can do the job. Now, when you've done this, you've completed this in class, you have your facilitator, you can ask questions, you can share your screen, you can show what you're doing. And at the end of the day, you're able to build the dashboard. You don't keep it to yourself. You showcase to the world and you show what you have built in a portfolio. Like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't done it before, there is no way you can get proof that you've done it. So when you've completed this project to help the NHS find to comply or build a compliance dashboard for venous thromboembolism, and you've shown what they should focus on. What do? You add that to your portfolio. I'll show you what a portfolio looks like. If I click on this link, it shows me a portfolio of multiple projects. One of them is smoking health risk analysis. So here you've done analysis of how the human body is affected by smoking. So I can also see a project on brain tumor distribution analysis. So I can see how cancer affects the brain. I can click on this project, for example, and I can see anybody anywhere in the world can click on this and interact with what you have built. So this is what your portfolio would look like. So I can come in here. This is a grade 1 brain tumor cancer. You can see the picture. The main area of the brain affected is the pituitary gland. 2,428 patients. The average age is 51 years old, and so on and so forth. All right. I want to see for stage 4. All I need to do is click on this, and my reports would upload to show what I've clicked on. It is interactive. These are the things employers want to see. Evidence that you've done the job. So when they say, if you go back to that person's specification, it would ask, you have questions on specific things on experience. Okay, if you've forgotten, I'm going to take you back there very quickly. If you go to experience, it says what? Experience in data analysis and report writing. Experience in using Microsoft Excel for data analysis. Experience in using Microsoft Power BI or its equivalent for data visualization skills. So you can't just say you have it. You have to show it. And how do you show it? You have evidence that you've done this before. I use Power BI to carry out brain tumor distribution analysis. I identified XYZ and so on and so forth. And that's what you add into your supporting statement. And this is evidence right here. That's how you build experience. So all the projects you complete in class becomes your work experience. Then after learning, you've worked on all those projects, you do your internship with Amdari. So your internship is where you get to collaborate with other professionals. It's virtual, it's online. As a health tech analyst, you're going to work with other professionals, cybersecurity professionals. You get to work with the business analyst, and you collaborate to solve similar problems. But because you are learning with Tenalytics, your work experience cannot also be from Tenalytics. So your work experience would be from Amdari. And that's why you get to see, when you see candidates like Uloma and Moreni KG, if you look at the correspondence, my correspondence, you'll notice that this is Amdari. Okay, Mr. Deza Suleiman, Amdari Incorporated, 9526 109A Avenue, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and so on and so forth. So they reference Amdari as your work experience. And that's the importance of having a reputable organization to vouch for you and say you've done these things before, you have these tools, used these technologies, and so on and so forth. And your portfolio is extremely important. All right. So I've kept more portfolios right here for you, for the data analyst, the health tech analyst, and you can see so many projects completed. Okay. You can come back here. You can see what smoking has done to the human body and so on. And just the way I'm clicking on it, anybody anywhere in the world can click and access everything I'm showing. So you can see how the heart is affected by smoking. You click on the liver, you see how the liver is affected by smoking. These are the things you would build. You don't need to have any experience, no matter the situation, no matter the position you are in right now. You'll be building this within the space of two months. Within 2 to 3 months, you'll be building dashboards like this. And these are the things that form the experience that you need. So apart from getting into the right career path, the right skills, apart from knowing what the NHS looks for when they score you, you must be able to show that you have experience. So before you wrap up your program, you're going to work on at least 15 to 25 projects. at least 15 to 25 projects in your portfolio. Then you need to know where to apply and how to apply. We show you where to apply to jobs, because if you don't know where to apply, you're not likely going to get access to interviews. So what we do is we have a job board. You have that on your dashboard, your platform. You also have a job board when you are doing your internship with Amdari. And we also give you access to different jobs that come with sponsorship. For example, UK Visa Jobs is an exclusive visa sponsorship platform, but it is a paid platform. You have to pay for it. So what do? We pay for it and we scrape these jobs and make them accessible in your dashboard. And I'll show you what that looks like very quickly. So say you've registered for any of the programs, for example, when you go to your dashboard and you go to career, you click on career, you'd see where you have your job board. Once you click on the job board, you'd see all the jobs that we've scraped and you can start applying to. You can see different project manager roles. I can click on data. Maybe I want to apply to data analyst roles, and you can see the different roles you can apply to, not to one specific region, across board. The US, Canada, the UK, and this is where you start your job application from. Before you go to read.co.uk, NHS jobs, and all those platforms, you start from here, because we've scraped the jobs, we've vetted the jobs. These are the type of jobs you can do, and we send them to you. So you come to your dashboard, go to your job board, and start applying to jobs. You have the same during your internship with Amdari. And when you know where to apply, you know how to apply using tools like CV Matchly, like I showed you earlier. With a click of a button, you generate a supporting statement. At the click of a button, you have an optimized CV, and you can use that to apply to jobs. And finally, you need a reference to keep that job and get the offer. So when you get an offer, what would any organization do, or an organization like the NHS? They send a reference request. Mr. Deza Suleiman, tell us about Ulama. Mr. Deza Suleiman, tell us about Moreni KG. What's the best way to manage? So they give you a form, or you click on this link, you fill the form, or there is an attachment where you fill the details of what these professionals have done. And that's what helps you secure the job. These are the 5 steps you need to take. Just to summarize once again, get into the right career path, number 1. Number 2, know exactly what the organization wants from you, the NHS. They score you on your person specification, the job description, and also your supporting statements. Then you build work experience through the project you complete in class, and also your internship for 2 months with Amdari. Amdari is registered both in Canada and also in the UK. So you can claim UK experience, Canada work experience. Number 4, you must do what? You must know where to apply and how to apply. And finally, you must have a reputable organization that can vouch for you by providing a reference that you are who you say you are. You've done this, you've done the things you say you've done. You can use the technologies you say you can use, and that gives them the confidence that you're the right person for the role. Okay. And all of this can be summarized into learning the right skills and focusing on one, packaging, positioning you as the best candidate for the job. And I've shown you already how we help you do that. We help you gain work experience. We optimize your CV for you. We optimize your LinkedIn for you. We show you how to build a portfolio and put all your projects into that portfolio as evidence that you can do the job. You have your mentorship sessions. When you have an interview, you're not left alone. We prep you for the interview. So on that same career page, you see how to book interviews, and I'll show you. So you're not chasing anybody to work with you during your interview. No, you go there, click on it, book an interview prep. From Sunday to Sunday, somebody would prep you for that interview. When you get the offer, we'll give you a job reference. When you start the job and you find anything a little bit difficult, we provide on-the-job support for 1 month. We work with you, tell you the type of questions to ask, and we ensure that we maintain data privacy so you don't get into any trouble. All right. And finally, you apply. We show you where to apply. You optimize your CV on the platform using CV Matchly. You have the right supporting statement. You have a job board provided to you. You know exactly how, where, and the volume you need to put in order to land that interview and land the job. And the learn, package, and apply framework is what gets you the job. Again, if you want a job, to get a job before the end of the year, like I started in 2026, or you want to meet the NHS recruitment spree, the next available one is next month in August, and after that is January to February. You have more than enough time to start prepping yourself today, have the right skills to get a job in any of these areas I've shared with you today. Those that start early and start today are the ones that will thrive. All right. So finally, you want to book interview prep. You click on career. You'd see where you have. So here you can review your CV automatically. You can use CV Matchly to tailor your CV. You can use CV Matchly to generate your supporting statement like I showed you. You can book an interview prep. So I just come in here, click on schedule mock interview. I select the program, the interview stage, first round, second round. It's a first round interview. And I select the dates my interview would hold. My interview is on Monday. I select 27th. Somebody would prep me before Monday. So let's say I have an interview on the 26th, on the 27th, on Monday. Someone would prep me tomorrow on Sunday for that interview. I copy the link and post the link of the job, copy and paste the job description. And when I've done that, I book my interview, upload the CV I used to apply, and somebody would join the call and prep me for that interview. Okay, I'm going to play one video. I want us to hear from maybe one or two people from Ikmat, who was a stay-at-home mom with a 2-year employment gap. She moved to the UK for her master's in public health. She wanted more for herself. She wanted to get visa sponsorship. She joined our data analytics program, and she got a job with the Sussex Community Foundation Trust with full visa sponsorship. For those that want to start, I'm going to play Ikmat's video. And again, all the links to people that have, recorded or created video to share their journey and their story, they're all on my slide. And I'll also show you on our YouTube page. You can always go there to watch and learn and hear from these amazing professionals. But you want to get them from my slide, make sure you fill the attendance once more so you get everything I've shared with you so far. Our next cohort starts on the 8th of August. 2026. And like I said, this is where people who want to prep for the next recruitment spree, get a job before the end of the year. This is the best time for you to start. And I have an amazing offer, 2 amazing offers for everyone here today. For those of you that are ready to get your journey started, I have an amazing offer for you. For those joining any of the 6 areas I listed, the health tech analyst, the data analyst, the business analyst, the healthcare business analyst, agile project manager, the healthcare project manager. The original amounts to get started is $1,250 or £957. But you have an amazing discount, many discounts, and I'll start with the first one. So the first discount is 6.5%. where you don't have to pay the full amount at once. So instead of paying £957, you get to pay $895. However, you make that payment in multiple installments up to 6 months, which means you can get started with only £74. That's all it takes for you to start today. You register everything I've shared so far. You get access to everything and more. Like I said, I have 2 amazing offers. This is the first one. First thing is you have a very low entry point where you can get started with just £74 and you get registered to start on the 8th of August. Okay, but I have just 10 slots available. We can't take everybody. We're taking just 10 people from the call today. So if you're interested in getting started in any of the areas I've mentioned so far, and like I mentioned, I'll stay back, help you answer some questions. For those of you that have questions around, this is what I've done. I'm thinking of this career path. What do you think about it? I'd help you out with those questions and provide recommendations for you. But I have just 10 slots available. Okay, and while we're on the call, I'm going to tick off the slots as soon as the slots are gone, and I'll take you to the second offer that I have for you. So that's the first offer. You have a low entry point of £74 to get started, and you make your payments in 6 months, and I'll share how that works with you. But in addition to that, if you click on the link, my colleagues would share the link in the chat. So if you click on the link my colleagues share, for those of you that want to get started, it takes you to this page where you can select the program you're interested in. So first things first, what we discussed today are non-coding career path. So you want to click on non-coding, and it takes you to all the non-coding career path. You are interested in health tech analyst, for example, or data analytics. See, I'm interested in health tech analyst. I click on enroll. It takes me to the health tech analyst program. I can read all the details and I can click on enroll. Okay, so I click on enroll. It takes me to where I can select create a profile. So I'll first of all create a profile very quickly. So I'm going to do that, and you'd see how you can go ahead and secure your slot. For those of you interested in getting started, I'll walk you through all the steps one after the other. Okay. So you enter your email, enter your phone number, and your phone number is important because this is where you receive an OTP to verify your phone number. So enter your phone number, select I've read the terms and conditions. You read the terms and conditions and click on sign up. So this creates an account for you immediately. Okay, it creates an account on the platform. You come right here. You can select to start in August, or you can select to start in September. Now, the beauty about this is the discount still applies. If you fall within the first 10, you can make your payment to secure your slot, and you can even start in September if you have commitments in August, for example. Okay, so say I want to start in August immediately. I don't want to waste time. The year is fast running out. I select August. Now, here's my second offer. I'm going to change the currency to pounds. So you can select different currencies right here: US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, Nigerian naira, or pounds. I'm going to select pounds. Okay. Now, the original amount is £957. However, if I make a one-time payment, I pay once, I get to save £242, and I make a payment of £715. So a one-time payment of £715, and I save £242. And I have access to priority CV and LinkedIn optimization. So what this simply means is you get fast access to your CV and LinkedIn optimization. You join the founder circle where you have a personalized roadmap from where you're starting to the career path you want to get into. What are the loopholes you're likely going to meet, and how do you navigate them? You get that document sent to you, personalized to you. You get access to the weekly mentorship immediately. Our mentorship sessions happens on Thursdays. So even though your program starts on the 8th of August, you can join the next available mentorship, which is this coming Thursday, and you have immediate access. You'd have access to our exclusive UK Global Talent Visa session. So for so many people, you want to know what the Global Talent Visa is all about. How does Tech Nation or any other endorsing bodies, what do they look at before they endorse you? How do you get your references and so on, or put your document together? We're going to provide that. You have free access to that session. It's a paid session, but you have access to it for free. If you do all the things we've said you should do, you attend classes, complete your project, build your portfolio, and everything I've shown you so far, we have a 3-month interview guarantee. And even when you are done, you've wrapped up your program, you've gotten a job, next year, 2 years after, you still have lifetime access to career support. You have an interview, you're moving from one role to the next role. You want us to prep you for interviews. We prep you for that interview. All you have to do is go to your dashboard and schedule that interview prep. So a one-time payment gets you that. You can also make payments in 2 installments, which means you save £207. To start today, you get to pay just £375 and you make the next payments the following month. That's the 2 monthly payments. It also comes with all the other benefits I just listed out. Then you have the 5 monthly payments, where instead of paying £957, you get to pay £750, just like the 2 installments. However, you get to break your payments into 5 installments. So what it takes for you to start now is just £150 today. And you make the next payment the next month, and within 5 months, you complete your entire payment. You save £207 and you get all the same benefits I've just listed out. The Founder Circle, 3-month interview guarantee, priority CV, LinkedIn optimization, and so on. And the final option is the bi-weekly payment. So this is bi-weekly. You get to save just about £42 in total. However, you can break your payments in as little as £74 per 2 weeks. So bi-weekly. So which means you have an extended period of 6 months to complete your payments. So it's an easy entry point for so many people, and it gives you the opportunity to schedule and plan your payments. Okay, a very flexible choice, flexible approach, and so on. So depending on what works best for you, you select the best option that suits your current situation. For example, you want to make a one-time payment, fully commit, and ensure that you get tremendous savings. You get to do that 2 monthly payments, 5 monthly payments, or the bi-weekly payments, where you get to extend your payments to up to 6 months. Okay, so you select your preferred payments. You'd see, so if I select bi-weekly, for example, and I go to the breakdown, you'd see the breakdown of when your first payment comes in, the second payment, the third payment, the fourth payment, the fifth, the sixth, and so on. So it's more like I make the first payment, I make a payment beginning and towards the end of the month. And that's how it's scheduled for you until you complete your entire payment. Okay. So you confirm your information is correct, you read the terms and conditions, and you click on pay now. So once you click on pay now, you confirm your information. It takes you to where you enter your card details. And the moment you complete that and complete your payment, you get automatically added to the dashboard. Okay, you get added to this dashboard and you can start your learning immediately. All right, you can start learning. You can start watching your videos, onboarding, complete the onboarding. We've provided the onboarding videos, how to install Excel, install the different tools you need, and you have all of that sorted. Just before I take questions, I want to show you something amazing as well, because one of the things a lot of people ask is, how do I ensure I get the support that I need? So we provide support at multiple levels. So even though you join your live class on Saturdays and during the week, you don't join a live class, but what if you miss a class on Saturday? Or what if you're trying to study on a Tuesday and you need somebody to work with you on Tuesday or Wednesday to help you out? We have something called the technical support session. So your technical support session is where you have the opportunity to book a session any day of the week. Okay, any day of the week. So let's take, for example, I'm trying to study I want somebody to work with me on a Monday. I'm free on Mondays and I missed the class on Saturday. I want somebody to work with me on Monday. All I need to do is I come to my classroom, click on that link for the drop-in session, and I can book a session any day of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There is a day for me to book a session. All right. And this is one link. If, let's say, all the slots are booked, you can come here, click on the second link, and it takes you to another technical support experts that would work with you every day of the week to help you ensure that you have the right support. That's one layer of support that you get. Another layer of support is when you're watching your videos on the LMS. So let's say I've joined the health tech, okay, and I'm watching my videos. I click on continue learning. I want to show you something amazing. And I'm learning Excel in health tech, okay? I'm learning paste special. I'm watching my videos. Okay, let me just mute this so that it's not too loud and distracting. So I'm watching my video and I want a summary of what this video is all about. It's an 18-minute long video. I want a summary. We have an inbuilt AI tool called 10 AI. So if you click on 10 AI and you ask 10 AI, summarize this entire session for me. 10 AI would summarize everything and tell me exactly what this particular video entails. You can see that this lesson explains how Paste Special in Excel gives you more control than regular copy and paste. More importantly, I can come here and say, how do I paste? How do I paste only a formula when I copy on Excel? Okay, so I just type in that. This is when I'm watching my video any day, anytime. So you click on that, you send it, and 10AI would give you a response. 10AI is an AI tool we built in-house to help you, to support you with your learning as well. So before you even go ahead and book a technical support session with a real human being, you can try to troubleshoot. If that doesn't work out, you can book a session with a real person that would look at the problems you have and guide you to a solution. So 10AI is telling you paste paste only the formula in this lesson, copy the source cells, go to where you want to paste, open Paste Special with Control Alt and V, select formulas and click on OK. And it's giving you the timestamp of where this was taught during this lesson. So I can click on this timestamp and it takes me to exactly where that was done in the video. All right. And that's super amazing. So it's asking me, I can also show you the difference between paste values, paste formats, and paste formulas. So this is another layer of support that you also get. And this makes learning fun and exciting for anybody. And take for example, you're learning on a Wednesday, you're learning on a Tuesday before your live class where you work on projects with a real person on Saturdays, and you're having troubles, go to your classroom, book a drop-in session, click on Calendly, and you can book a drop-in session depending on your time zone. So I'm going to change the time zone from Mountain Time. I'm going to change it to UK time. So let's search for UK time, for example. I'm just going to look for UK time. So let's use UK time. Okay. So I want to book a session. I want somebody to work with me on Tuesday. I click on Tuesday. I see the times available. There is 9 a.m., 2 p.m., 9 p.m. Okay. Wednesdays, 9 a.m., 5 p.m., 9 p.m. All right. So I can see the times available. Maybe there is no time available right here. I can check another. So let's check the other link and let's see if there's time available. And you see multiple times available so that you never have a situation where you don't have support. Okay. So if I click on this 3 p.m., 9 p.m., okay, 6 p.m., 9 p.m., you can see the variation of the timing. Here I have 12 a.m. That's midnight. So I can book a session midnight. So let's say I'm busy all day and I'm only free at night. I can actually book a session midnight, my time. Somebody would join a session with me, 12 a.m. my time, help me sort the problem I have. And you never go into a live class with a pending problem. All right. So I'm going to take questions because I know we have so many questions. I'll take questions in the chat. But then again, what about those in France? We have a lot of people in France that got jobs. Queen. Okay. Like the session today made me focus a little bit on the NHS. But let me show you someone who got a job in France, and I've seen some payments coming already. I'm going to start ticking the slots I have available. I'll show you somebody who got a job in France for Queen that asked the question. So because of my topic, I had to focus on the NHS a little bit. This is Vanessa, for example. Okay, Vanessa, she had a background in electrical engineering. Vanessa joined us last year, July 2025. And within the space of about July, August, September, October, November, just about 4 months, Vanessa was able to get a job with an organization in France. She lives in Paris, got a job in France as a data analyst. Let me tell you the interesting thing about Vanessa. She did not apply to the job. After her LinkedIn optimization, when we showed her what to do about her LinkedIn optimization, how to optimize her LinkedIn profile, she got a recruiter reach out to her, and eventually she was able to land that job. Okay. So if I click on the link, it takes you to where you can watch Vanessa. I'm not going to play this.
Okay, thank you so
It's quite long, 7 minutes. It's a 7 minute long video, but I want you to listen to Vanessa. She spoke about how she got that job in France, and for you in France as well. And you can see the different flags. This is somebody in Ireland. This is Chukwuebuka in Ireland. This is William Patrick in Poland. This is Adeshola, Christian Adeshola in Nigeria. You have Abednego, who is in Canada, in Winnipeg. You have Amaka, who is in Saskatchewan, Canada. You have Tony, who is also in Saskatchewan, Canada. You have Pavel, who got a job as a healthcare data analyst in the US. He's a Cameroonian, lived in Cameroon. He was a teacher in Cameroon in a high school. He moved to the US. He worked in HVAC. He did a little bit of HVAC. He didn't want to do that anymore. He joined our data analytics program and eventually landed a job as a healthcare data analyst. You have Emmanuel, who got a job with the Bank of America as a senior operations consultant. He joined our financial analytics program. You have Bukola, who was a HR professional back in Nigeria, moved to the US. Bukola last year got a job with Evidence Microscopy as a senior HR business analyst. She joined our business analysis program. And you have so many people. They're all on my slide. I can't share every single person. Okay. You have Gad. Gad had a mechanical engineering background. Gad is in the UK. He also works with the NHS. I didn't talk about data engineering. He joined our data engineering program, but I didn't talk about that because data engineering requires coding, high level of coding. But Gad joined data engineering. Last year, January, he landed a job, a visa sponsored job with one of the NHS trusts as an ETL, data warehouse and ETL developer. You have Esther, who is also in the UK, got a job as a contracts project officer. She joined our Agile project management program. You have Sharon, who is a Kenyan, moved from Kenya to the UK, joined our business analysis program. She got a job as a business data analyst. And let me tell you something interesting about Sharon. Sharon was a healthcare assistant with the NHS. So she already had sponsorship, but she didn't want to work as a healthcare assistant anymore. She joined us in March last year, 2025. And by May, just about 3 months after joining, she got a job as a business data analyst and she kept her sponsorship. And Sharon's transformation is proof that when you have the right strategy, it opens a lot of doors for you. All right. And there's so many professionals, a lot of them across the globe, who have landed jobs in different areas and are doing tremendously well for themselves. I hope I answered that question from Queen. I'm going to take more questions for those of you that have questions for me in the chat. Okay. Samuel is asking, looks like the focus here, you've heard nothing about Canada. Again, because of the topic, Samuel, we didn't really talk about so many areas in Canada, but you see people that have gotten jobs in Canada. I shared a couple. I'm going to share more with you. Let me share Hope, and I'll tell you a little bit about Hope. Hope Atogi got a job as a project analyst with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario. Now, let me talk a little bit about Hope. Let me talk about her story a little bit. Hope she's your conventional, I must have a certificate. She got all the certificates. Hope Abiola, I'm going to show you. You can see one of the first things you see on her profile is PMP, but she moved to Canada and she couldn't get a job. Do you know why? Because employers don't care about your certificates. They care about what you have done. What experience have you done? Do you have Canadian work experience? So what did Hope do? Hope joined us. She joined our Agile project management program. Okay. She joined us sometime around September 2024. And just about 3 months after, in December, she landed a job with Visman. She landed a job with Carrier as an associate project manager in Waterloo, Ontario. She had all the certification but couldn't land a job. And what did we do for Hope? That's her right there with the glasses, if you can see the picture. And what did we do for Hope? Very simple. We walked Hope through focusing on her experience rather than focusing on her certification. She built a portfolio. We showed her how to optimize her CV the right way, and we prepped her for her interviews. And Hope landed a job just after 3 months from joining us. And that's Hope's story. I hope that answers your question. All right. Again, I said I was going to show, I think I've seen some payments coming already. I'm going to play maybe Hope's video for those of you that want to listen to Hope and you get to hear from her and what she's been able to do. Again, and there's so many testimonials on my slide, so many of them. We don't have enough time to show everything, but I'll show where you can also get them on YouTube. All right. So I have 5 slots gone already, and I have 5 slots left. Okay. So I have 10 slots for this session today. Again, for those of you who are interested, you have an amazing opportunity to access any of the programs I've shared with you, and you get amazing additional benefits. All right. You join amazing sessions like I shared earlier. And let's say you've made payments or you're having trouble making payments. You can always send a message to any of my colleagues using this number. You can send us an email to admission@analytics.io and somebody would respond to your question. Again, this is a unique offer that would not go beyond 10 people. For those of you that want to make the multiple payments, getting in at just £74. Again, if for those that want to make payments in different currencies, you can always do that. All right. So let's assume I don't want to make payments in pounds. I can always make an adjustment. Okay. You come in here, you select US dollars, for example. Instead of $1,250, you get to pay $950 if you're making a one-time payment. So you save $300. 2 installments of 500 for 2 months, 5 installments for 200 every single month for 5 months, or you can start with $100. Okay. And you have a bi-weekly payment of $100 and an extended payment plan of 6 months. I can also change this to Canadian dollars for the people in Canada, and you get to see the amount, a one-time payment of $1,305 instead of 1,770, all the way to 140 bi-weekly payments, $140. The tremendous thing is, this is what I pay for jujitsu for my 11-year-old kid. And that's what it takes to transform your career. All the success stories I've shared so far, this is what it takes to transform your career from where you are to where you want to be. And for all the people I've shared so far, that's exactly what they did. They got their journey started. That's the most important thing. All right. What about those in France? I think I've answered that. I've not seen any other question coming. I'll just go through the chat and see if I have missed any question. If I've not answered your question, please let me know and I will help out. Okay. Sandra said, please, I need some someone to talk to. I have more questions. All right, Sandra. So what you need to do, my colleagues, I think they've also dropped different links in the chat. Emanuela, for example, you'd see Manuela, you'd see Engineer Elijah. They'll drop that link. You can book something we call a clarity session. The only thing about that, Sandra, is usually when you've gone into that clarity session and you get all your answers clarified or answered, the discounted slots would already be gone by then. Okay. So book a clarity session and somebody would help you out with any question. If it's a question you can't ask here, perhaps it's a personal question, but if you ask the question here, I'd answer all the questions you have. Okay. All right, Emanuela, you tagged me to a question. I think I've answered Samuel's question, if that's what you're tagging me to. I've heard nothing about Canada. I think I've shared a couple of success stories from Canada already. Let me see. What about those in France? I've answered that question already. Okay. I'm not sure I have. Okay. Is it possible to get a record? Absolutely. The recording would always be available for anyone. I'm going to play a video of one person and I'll show you on YouTube. Okay. So you can go on YouTube to access all the testimonials of people who have created videos, about 195 videos available for you to watch. Okay. One of the recent persons that got a job, somebody got a job recently. She was a data analyst, but she's also in the UK, wanted to get a job as a data engineer. She came to us, we worked with her, and after a few months, she got a job as a data engineer. I want you to listen to her because one of the major challenges I've heard people talk about is, oh, I don't usually get, I've done a training somewhere, I didn't get the right support. I want you to hear from this amazing lady, and I want you to hear how we supported her to get in this job. Okay, so I'm going to play the video, and I would also check.
Hello, my name is Uche, and
I'll check if we have questions afterwards, and then I'll see how many slots we have left, and then we call it a day. So let's listen to Uche, who got a job recently. The testimonial was posted, I think, about a day ago, yesterday. So let's hear from Uche, and let's hear how her journey played out. Okay?
Hello, my name is Uche, and I'm currently a student of 10 Analytics. Okay, so fast forward, how did I become a student of 10 Analytics? I think that was early this year, or no, not early this year. Last year, I kind of see adverts pop up on Instagram of 10 Analytics, and I'm like, okay, all this money making ventures, count me out. So for me, the turning point was when one of the YouTube content creators I follow hosted one of the founders of 10 Analytics, that's Adeza. And when I heard Adeza speak, for me, I was like, okay. And I was at this stage of my life because I have been working as a data analyst, but I wanted kind of like a change in role title, and I wanted some core hard skills which I had not gotten the opportunity of really working on, like real life projects, or I didn't have the experience to work on that at the place I was working at the moment. And so when I heard Adeza speak, so for the first time he was able to convince me, and I went through what they had to offer, and I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot and see. And to be honest, they met my expectations. Projects, the case studies we worked on during classes, or which we currently still work on during classes, they're really helpful to me because I already had prior experience, right? Going for my next job interview and then landing the current role I did was kind of easy. I was able to apply my knowledge from like the past while working as a data analyst, and then in addition to things I just learned from 10 Analytics, I was able to, secure the desired role I wanted. The fun part for me in 10 Analytics, to be honest, is the trainers, the facilitators were well trained. They always carried everyone along in the class, irrespective of your skill level. I mean, there were times where you asked them to reiterate things they taught, and then they were really happy to go back and then teach and then ensure that everyone in the class, irrespective of your skill level, is carried along. Now, another bit 10 Analytic has that I truly like is the fact that whenever you have like a job interview, they prep you for the interview, right? So they kind of simulate like possible questions that could come out during your job interview, looking at your resume and then trying to go through the job description. They also have like the resume prep, which they help people prep their resumes. Fun parts for me, the parts I really enjoyed during my were the mentorship sections. The mentorship sections were truly good, where you see other people that have had experience than you, right? So they come share their experience. You could learn one or two things from me. They had interview simulations. Those were my fun parts, where someone would face like the panel of different interviewers and then they get to ask you questions and you answer the questions based on your resume. I mean, my advice for anyone, irrespective of the level of your irrespective of whatever level you are in now, right? Whether you are just an early starter, someone looking to pivot into like the tech field, or someone looking to change. Maybe you're trying to change from like probably you want to be a data analyst, wanting to change to like a data engineer or a business analyst or anything. It's irrespective of whatever you are doing at the moment. 10 Analytics is really a place for you to be. I mean, you can quickly learn quick skills. You want to learn their different things, and they are really experienced when it comes to that, to be honest. I mean, my final word for everyone is give it a shot. If you're still deciding whether to join like me, or you feel like, oh, they're just there to rip you off your money, trust me, I'm telling you from my own experience, it's worth joining. Give it a try. Thank you.
That's Uche, who got a job recently, and that's her own story. Okay. So it's always good to hear from other people. And like I always advise, follow us across platforms. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, go to YouTube. You have numerous amazing videos from professionals. Oluwatoyin, for example, is in Canada. You want to hear how she worked with the NCAA, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority in Nigeria. She worked in planning within aviation in Nigeria. Well, she moved to Canada in Saskatchewan and she was wondering, what type of job can I do? She joined a session like this. She heard me speaking about, oh, if you've done planning before, project management would be a fantastic pathway for you. She joined the Agile Project Management Program, and today Toyin works as a project coordinator in Saskatchewan, Canada. And she got this job less than a year after moving to Canada. And there are a lot of people in Canada today that struggle to land jobs for years, and they are just on survival jobs and so on and so forth. You want to listen to Tony. You want